Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. Today, it's ban hammer time.
We're talking about 10 cards we would ban right now if we could.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. We're bringing you daily Magic content every single day for the rest of your life until you eventually die. And that's great. So if you want to support the channel, there's only one way that we're going to ask you to do it in the beginning of this video, because we got a special goal we're looking to reach with TCG Player. So if you've ever wondered, what's the Nitpicking Nerds affiliate link like? You can go click the link in the description, buy the cards from TCG Player the way you normally would, except because you started with the link, we get a kickback. And if we get enough kickbacks, basically, we're going to make an awesome series, Top 100 Blue cards, coming out next month. We're so excited, and we're really shooting for the moon on this one.
If you've been thinking about buying Magic cards for a month or two, and this is the time, and use our link, support us, and we will be forever grateful. And then we'll put out an awesome top 100 blue cards of all time.
Pro tip, one of our Discord people actually said this: you can bookmark the tab that already has our affiliate link, so then whenever you go buy cards, you don't even have to think about it. You're just already in there with our link.
Yeah, your bookmark could just be the TCG Player affiliate link for the Nitpicking Nerds.
So consider it. But also, before we get into the video, happy birthday to everyone whose birthday falls on today, and also happy birthday to all of your pets.
Happy birthday to you. So let's get into this video. So the situation is, me and Beezy have been tasked with banning 5 cards each. They can't overlap. We have to ban 5 cards. What do we ban?
Right. So this is more of a just like, hey, you know, we did the April Fool's video. We threw out Game Trail Changeling. Some people still think that video is serious, and that's even better.
I am like shocked. Like, there were so many ridiculously stupid cards. There was an uncard.
Right.
There was Game Trail Changeling
Orcish Lumberjack
of a French vanilla.
Lucille,
a bat, and they talked about how attractive the bat was.
Yeah, just really, really stupid. So yeah, that we did that. So then people were like, hey, can we get the serious version? So yeah, this is a video of like, hey, if we had to ban 10 cards right now, here's the 10 that we think are like least healthy for the format. This isn't like I'm outraged that these aren't banned, or I'm gonna like throw shade at anybody. This is just like, hey, let's just put 10 cards on the ban list. This is what we would pick.
Yes, the first one, we'll start with me. I would ban Soul Ring. Pretty simple. It's honestly, the defense for leaving this card in the format is paper thin. There's almost none. It's so easy. This has ruined more games of Commander than any other card. It keeps happening over and over again. How much I was playing Otrimi Precon. Guess what? I drew Soul Ring, and I Otrimi Precon'd everyone. It wasn't close. I absolutely crushed them with stupid Otrimi Precon.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to mine right now because it's Mana Crypt. They're like the same thing. So one interesting thing that we've been noticing, because we kind of had this jump where we're like, let's cut Soul Ring and Mana Crypt from our decks, and let's kind of leave everything else alone and see what the decks kind of look like. Even with the other fast mana, because there's still other fast mana besides these cards, the games don't get as swingy when that comes down. You know, Chrome Mox Signet is a lot less backbreaking than Soul Ring or Mana Crypt Signet, and I feel like these two are kind of in a class of their own. So like, if I had control for whatever reason, I think I would start by just banning these two and leaving the rest in, because they're like an extra step more miserable.
Yeah, honestly, like you said, we've been playing some of the other fast mana. I saw Chrome Mox ruin one game in all of the games, but we've seen.
What happened?
You were in it. It was the game.
I just don't remember.
So it was Chrome Mox, land, Skullbriar, followed by turn 3.
Oh, yeah.
Kodama of the East Tree or West
Tree.
Tree.
Turn 2, Kodama West Tree.
Yeah, turn 2, Kodama West Tree.
Nuts.
So that was not that ruined the game, but that was a silly one that was kind of an outlier. That doesn't happen that often.
It also could have been accomplished by like Lotus Petal in some cases. It depends.
Soul Ring Mana Crypt actually just,
they're in the league of their own, so we would get them out. Let's go to the rest that are less obvious. What's your number 2 or number 3 overall?
Less obvious? This is probably the card people want banned the most in the format.
Well, I would say even less obvious than Soul Ring Mana Crypt.
This might be I don't even think it's less obvious.
Maybe the most universally hated card.
It might be. Yeah, it's Dockside Extortionist. This is just, when it enters, 2 mana, doesn't matter its power toughness, it's useless. Enters, you get a treasure for each artifact and enchantment your opponents control. I don't know what they were thinking with this card. It is a ritual on the creature. It is a ridiculously large ritual on the creature. It goes infinite with the most offensive card in the format, Ham Sandwich.
The hammy of sandwiches.
It just doesn't matter what you do with this card. It wins out of nowhere. And even when it's just a good value card, it's still insane. I don't know. Like, if you build a red deck and you're going for power, it will include Dockside Extortionist, period.
Yeah, it's especially budget aside. This is a card that I think in the beginning, it's easy to say, what were they thinking? Like, what are they doing? And it always comes to mind, but I think it's less constructive to like make fun of the people who made this because it's in the past. What are they supposed to do about it? They've already acknowledged that they're going to make less cards like this, and we can move on from there. I think it's healthy to talk about whether this card should be in the format or what kind of game states it creates. That's fine. I would just keep the judgment away from the people. You goofed. It happens.
I mean, this card should be a 6-mana 6/6.
Right.
It really should, or it should be like, or even a 7, even if it's like under 6 mana 3/3.
I just think this design space shouldn't be explored. Like even Priest of Gix, where it's like 3 mana 2/1 that makes 3 mana. It's like I just think this is poor design space to be in.
Yeah, I mean, because there's two options really. There really is.
It's nothing or it's busted.
Exactly. It's awful or it's way too good and it's gonna completely just run away with the game. That's kind of the problem with ritual-esque cards. They're either too good or bad.
Right. So yeah, Dockside's a pretty easy one. I don't think we even need to go too hard into this one.
This one's a BZ original.
Yeah, this is definitely a BZ original. Almost ever since I saw it, I was just like, man, I hate this card. It's Expropriate. It's 9 mana. Take an extra turn. You still everyone's best thing, or you take 2 extra turns and win the game. This card is, I think, definitely something I would ban based on sort of the Commander's Rules Committee standard of like, hey, we don't like cards that win out of nowhere. And I think this might be one of the most maybe the second biggest offender for winning out of nowhere, maybe third. But anyway, it's just big splashy spell that requires nothing. As long as you're past turn 7 or so, you're just going to win the game. I don't personally find this interesting or fun. I think it can definitely tank some games that could have been interesting.
It does tend to just end games out of nowhere from the hand for 9 mana. It doesn't win every single time. It probably legitimately wins like 80% of the time. Like when they cast an Expropriate, they're going to win 80% of the time after that, which is a super high percent. That's 4 out of 5 games.
And the other percent is they're 100% dominating. It's not like it's 20% dominating, 80% winning.
Yeah, they're taking extra turn after that. They're like extra turn spells are super miserable.
Yeah, they're rough.
They tend to just they take the dynamic of like everyone gets an equal amount of time and just absolutely ruin that completely.
Chuck it out the window.
So I mean, I don't hate Expropriate, and I would leave it in the format, but I understand BZ's hatred for this card.
You know what this card has also done in the past is it has taken perfectly honest and janky decks and made them into something that needs to be arch enemied just by way of existing. I know that your old Bolas tribal, like it was cards with Nicol Bolas on the artwork and some big splashy spells. And because cards like this existed in the deck, we had to go kill Joe immediately no matter what. Because if he gets to 10 mana, he's going to win with something out of nowhere no matter what has happened in the game. So it kind of like sucked all the fun out of that deck for everybody, I think, when the deck itself was like wholesome and cool. And also your Jeleva deck that you've built where it's like, I'm going to cast my opponent's things. And it has Expropriate because it's on theme. But every once in a while it goes under Jeleva and you're just like, we need to kill Joe. And it's just really weird.
Yeah, I mean, it
like warps the whole game even just by existing.
Like even in my Jeleva deck, after I took Jeleva out, it was still miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Next is my number 3. It's Thassa's Oracle. This is the easiest ban in the format. I don't even know why this card is legal in Commander. It doesn't make any sense. If you don't know, it is the easiest thing in the world to empty your Commander. There is the cheap...
Empty your library.
To empty your library. To empty your Commander, yeah. Empty your library. So, Tainted Pact. Demonic Consultation. Leveler. This is a million different ways. Draw your whole deck.
Doomsday.
Win with this. And this is the only version of this card that is as stupid as this one. Because, like, all the other ones require you to draw a card.
They need to be in play. This does not need to be in play because the devotion requirement is equal to... They can be equal to 0, which is your library size, and then you'll win. I feel like almost with a little tweak, where if it said, like, greater than the number of cards in your library, maybe that would push it to the point where it's less awful.
I still think it'd be miserable. I really do. But that being said, this card is, I mean, it's a terrible design. It's absolutely awful. It's not, I don't know where they were going with this card. It's been banned in Pioneer, right? It's like,
yeah, it's starting to get some bans, and maybe it'll get more, maybe not. But I think this is an easy offender, one of the poster children for just winning out of nowhere. And I know the CDH folks will be happy. I don't know if this ban list is necessarily like for them. This is probably just, we can say, for the casual folks playing kitchen table and power below 10. They would appreciate it because this is like tanking that format. Not literally, but...
I mean, this is just the cards that could easily get out of this format, and I would never miss any of them. Like, literally, almost every single one of this is like, if it was gone tomorrow, if they just said these 10 cards are banned, I'd be like, okay, and I will.
It would hurt some people, but I think the format would be net better.
I miss them 0%, especially Thassa's Oracle. That card's stupid. I need deck. I mean, I've not seen the interesting deck that went with Oracle.
Yeah. Oh, it's my Simic draw my deck. It's like, I'm not interested by that.
Yeah, it's my Tatiova deck. Not interested.
All right. All right. Let's go to my number 3, which is Protean Hulk. Not recently. It feels recent, but I'm old.
It was like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It's been a long time.
I think it was way more than that. But anyway, it's been a long time. It's been unbanned, and I just think, hey, all right, we tried it. I'm not a fan. It's definitely another one of the win out of nowhere cards. If it resolves and you've built your deck around it, which is 90% of the time, you win. You just have to sacrifice it, and most of the time that thing can't be responded to. So like if you land it and then you Viscera Seer it, there's nothing to do because it's already dead. You can interrupt the combo with spot removal, but I just think this existing just has a huge, like, not super great impact on the format, and I'd love to see it go. Honestly, I'm not a fan. I don't think this needs to be here.
I mean, this card isn't fun in any way. Another card that's legal in this format that could also just be banned with Protein Hulk if you're using the same line of thought is Tooth and Nail. And the argument for one of Tooth and Nail being still in this format is it can be used and players cannot win the game.
Right, but I think if you have to actively change how you play with a card to not win, that's really bizarre. Not many Magic cards can say that. If I want to play X, I have to make sure I don't win.
Yeah, exactly.
Really weird.
Like Protein Hulk it has a combo in almost every single color combination where
I think by now it might be everyone, but most of them.
You literally just set it up and you win. You 7 mana, sacrifice it, game over. GG, it's done. We're not playing anymore because I win.
Sometimes you reanimate it. Back when Flash was legal, you just flashed it out. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, CDH players, but I think Protein Hulk and Thassa's Oracle are some of the only cards to take advantage of Flash. But that Flash is banned now.
Yeah, Flash is just banned.
And that was weird because that is only for CDH, and they said they wouldn't even do that. So that one I don't know too much about.
Yeah,
I won't comment on it.
It's like if it felt that it was them throwing them a bone. It was really
like
weird.
We're never doing this. This isn't about CDH, except this one. Okay, here you go.
Yeah, it feels really odd and out of place for them to do that.
If you have more context for it, definitely let us know, and we'll
it was. I mean, the ban was for CDH. Period. I mean, they did do it, which just. I mean, if you're not, it's like either care or don't care. That weird like little middle ground, and they even said don't expect us to do this again. It's like,
but Thoracle would really help those guys out, and nobody's missing it in casual. So go to your number 4.
My number 4. This is easy.
This is a good one.
This card is miserable. There is no fun play patterns around the card. Humility. Period. This card is absolutely miserable in every battle cruiser format. I mean, and if it's not good, so the only time it can ever be okay and not miserable is in a format it's not good in.
Right, where like CDH, it's not that much about creatures. We've got plenty of stuff to do on the stack, plenty of interaction. It's not going to be that good. It's like, okay, well, so it's either miserable or nothing.
It's either miserable or terrible. And this card is, I think, just the miserable. What is it leading to? What game where humility is played is fun?
Where every creature runs into each other, and none of the creatures that answer enchantments can answer this. This reminds me a lot of Caracas, where like, I know Caracas is more of a free roll to play, but both of them just kind of don't gel with the fact that this format is about creatures, playing your creatures, and your creatures doing things. And this just sweeps all commanders under the rug. It kind of just like spits in the face of the whole format, where it's like, look at this creature I built around. It's like, nah, I don't want to.
Exactly.
You have a 1/1.
It's totally miserable, and it just ends up. And what's even more miserable is it doesn't equally impact every deck. It does.
That's true.
It does hurt. It does hurt every single deck a little bit at least.
It has to.
It has to because you have a commander, but. The fact of the matter is, some decks just get completely shut down, and you can't play. Mm-hmm. Like, this essentially says, I can't play the game, I get to do nothing for the rest of the game. And that's miserable. It's an absolute... It's a misery-causing card that just shouldn't be here and is no fun ever. Like,
ooh. You know what other cards this is kind of like? Iona. Where this kind of says, like, you can't cast creatures, they don't do anything. And if Iona is banned for just restricting colors... I feel like there's plenty of ways around that, and every deck can play colorless. But some decks just show up, like with Iona, and they say, I'm mono red. I can't beat this card. And they say, I'm playing 40 creatures. I can't beat this card. Like, it's very weird.
Yeah, so I think a good point, one of the rules committee's things is if it requires you to play specific answers, like say something like Iona, require a colorless answer.
Right, that you wouldn't play otherwise.
That's problematic. You can do the same thing with this. I want to play all my removal on creatures. I can't because then humility just beats me.
And I think, as a rule of thumb, you generally should play like 1 or 2 non-creature spells, but then it becomes you're playing the correct number of non-creature removal, and you still go, I have a 4% chance of drawing my out. Do I want to play this game?
Yeah, it's really rough. Well, what is your number 4?
Well, we just had it back, and I don't need it. Worldfire. So it just ends the game, guaranteed. This is going to end the game either quickly or very, very slowly, and not in a satisfactory way for anybody. Almost guaranteed, because it exiles everybody's hands, everybody's bored, all permanents. No one has anything except everybody goes to 1 life. So it's like the first person to just randomly get lucky and draw enough lands into a spell that is a creature that has text on it. They kind of win, or you have some kind of combo like you Oblivion Ring, or you play like a Thragtusk, something that leaves a battlefield trigger, and you just go, everything's dead, I get a 3/3. Go. And then you're just going to win. I feel like this is a win out of nowhere card, or it's a restart the game in the worst possible way card. And I guess maybe they're testing the waters with this unban. If it goes well, then maybe they're going to unban some of those other reset cards. But I think it just kind of spits in the face of the format like the other cards where we're expecting to play. This stops the game every time.
This is the most reasonable one of them because you go to one life, it's going to end quickly usually. But nobody has anything. Nobody has anything.
I wouldn't say that's very quick. I think it could easily be 6 go-arounds before anyone has a land. Or anybody has 2 lands and enough mana to cast a creature.
It's so stupid. I think Fire is just a dumb card that's 9 mana. It could be 9 mana win the game, which I just don't know. Why do we want that? Like, what? This is, I just don't, where are the fun play patterns of Worldfire? Like, what, like.
Where's the expression?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. What do we get from unbanning this? This is this isn't the card that I would have, that if it was never banned, I would be all over. But it was banned, and I would have never removed it from that list. It's like, it hit the ban list. Once something's on the ban list, unbanning it is so much, it's so easy to just leave it there. Like, banning a card takes something. Like, you have to be like, okay.
You're taking away. Maybe it kind of pretty much started banned.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, once a card is banned, which Worldfire was, I just didn't see what the reason was to ever unban it.
Yeah, I get that. I think part of the thing we disagree with on the rules committee is just the fact that if not enough people are playing it, it's okay to stay in the format. And I think we just disagree on, which is fine. I mean, there's no correct take, but we would just rather say if a card can't produce the outcome that your format is striving for, then we would just rather not have it. And if no one's playing it to the point that it's pseudo-banned, banning it isn't that big of a hit to the format. It's just, I don't think, adding another card that people have to read on the ban list is that big of a thing.
No, not at all. I don't even think it's close to, I think the ban list could be 200 cards and it could still be fine, but I'm not saying we should or shouldn't. That don't take me out of context.
Just where we disagree, it's not even part of this video.
Yes.
We disagree.
Don't take me out of context. I'm saying it could be 200 cards.
It should be, and it has to be. Oh. We're quitting Magic forever.
All right, my last one is Cyclonic Rift. Again, another card where I don't know where the fun comes in. It's bounce everything for 7 mana at instant speed. The last player has to discard their hand. It's even more miserable for them. Mm-hmm. This card is never fun. It's one that people have to soft ban from play groups because it's so unfun, miserable, and just leads to not fun play patterns. And if every deck's running one, sometimes how much longer does the game become from Cyclonic Rift?
This is an interesting card. I don't know if I agree with you on this one where I'd ban it, but I totally see the argument. It's like a mixture of a few different things where it's like you get the very mini version of like Worldfire where the game's kind of reset, but it's definitely in your favor. So that's also like this card's really swingy and it's like going to make it so that you can't lose most of the time when you play it. Sometimes you also can't win, which means the game's extending, which kind of goes against the fact that we're all sitting down to play a game in like a reasonable amount of time and we all have lives. But it's also kind of getting into the homogenization argument where like if every blue deck needs Cyclonic Rift, it's just all over the place. You have to play it no matter what. It requires very specific answers because it's an instant, just kind of goes in the stack. I think this is, defensible, but I might not agree with you right now.
I just don't like the card at all.
I see where you're coming from.
It's just, it doesn't, yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, you don't have to agree with me. That's not, this video isn't about getting 100% agreement.
We're going to fight soon. And just stay tuned for the tidbit. We're going to fist fight.
But Cyclonic Rift just leads to misery all the time. It's not a fun card at all. I don't want to bounce everything to everyone's hand. How often in a game does a player pass with 7 mana in the past? Like, we don't play with this card much anymore, but you would just go, someone would untap, they go, pass. And you go, ugh.
And the group would have to go, we have to make them have it. This is going to be really bad for one or two of us.
And the worst thing about it is that what can you do? Because if you can't kill that player or damage that player enough to hurt them, you can't do anything about it. What are you going to do? Not play cards? That's not going to help. What are you going to do? Play cards? That's also not going to help.
Someone has to overcommit and take a big hit for the will of the table, and that's just really weird.
You have to specifically have a counterspell because you can't really stop this except for with Teferi's Protection. That's about it.
I'm usually the guy that's like, okay, give me maximum brownie points. I'm going in, and I like throw everything at them so that they have to rift, but it's not the best. I'm going to go to my number 5 and the final one on here. This is one that I think could easily have been banned and nobody would even notice, and probably half of you don't even know it's legal. It's World Purge. I think it's like 8 mana. You reset everyone's hands. You reset all mana pools so you can't float or do anything tricky, and the game just like starts over. There's no lands in play. Everyone has 7 cards. There's no mana in the mana pool. This is worse than Worldfire, I think, because it kind of just it doesn't end the game. it invalidates the game by restarting it. And I think this one can go for sure.
The only thing that matters from that point was the damage that was dealt.
Right.
Because it's nothing else. It bounces all permanents to their owner's hand, and then you choose 7.
The rest go away.
The rest go away, and then you play, and then you start all over. It's totally miserable. I mean, again, we're just going to be in the spot of like replaying the game over. Why do we want to do that? We don't. It's a waste of time. I mean, I can't reiterate. This is Worldfire all over again. It's the same as I think. Why do I want to do this? I don't.
Well, this actually maybe a little bit more annoying because it's who drew the best 30 cards. Because now we get to sculpt the perfect 7. So anyone who drew a Soul Ring is going to start Soul Ring Signet. Anyone who didn't is just done. They're out of the game. There's going to be multiple people, maybe with like really good turns 1, 2, 3. Turns 1, 2, 3. I mean turns 24, 25, 26 that are going to run away with it. And it's just not something I want to sit through. Not worth my time. I would just concede to this card.
Sway the Stars is banned for a reason. I think the Sway the Stars effects should be out of Commander because they're not fun. They're stupid. They make the game go too long. They invalidate the whole entire game, and they don't even necessarily win. And that's what's even extra miserable. They're not winning the game. They just spent 8 mana to do jack crap.
Something I actually would maybe want to ask and do a poll about is some of these cards, like Humility, World Fire, World Purge, and maybe Expropriate too. Would you rather concede or resolve the spell? And if an overwhelming majority of players would rather concede than resolve the spell, because sometimes you can just resolve a win, like Overwhelming Stampede. Just resolve it. The game's over. Doesn't matter. It's like a 5-second difference. But some of these, it's like, no, I'd rather just get to a new game. We're saving 5 minutes.
I mean, yeah, these cards I don't want to restart the game. And now, here at the end of the little thing, we're not necessarily saying these cards shouldn't, or would be banned, but these are the cards that if we had to ban them, we would.
If we had to choose.
If we had to choose. I mean, Soul Ring and Mana Crypt. So I think there's 4 on here, like Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Dockside Extortionist, Thassa's Oracle, 100%. Like, those are the cards that, like, I just think this format could do without easily, and I think they should be banned. Maybe even Humility, but that's a different story. I could talk about that one all day just because it's miserable. But those 4 at the top are 100%, I think, just not fun. Awful cards for this format, but
and the rest are just like, hey, I think the format might be better without these.
I'm also fine with always the opposite. I like to mention this because I'm fine with banning all the stupid cards that should be out of this format, and I'm also fine with unbanning everything
and just leaving it fully to players' disclosure. And then when we start a video, we basically say, hey, this is where we're at. Maybe we post our own personal ban list on Moxfield, so we're not playing.
I could not agree with that. The 0, I think having a small ban list is worse than having no ban list.
It might be.
I think
it's really interesting discussion. I mean, it's fun to like theory craft and stuff.
Yeah, so I'll just give my quick reasoning, and then we'll go to the end of the video.
Totes.
My reasoning would be the small ban list makes it seem like that everything is being solved, and that the cards that are problematic to the format are removed. So we don't need to ban things for ourselves. That's like a thought process that comes through people's heads, especially people who don't necessarily follow Commander and the rules committee and haven't read their whole thing but know the ban list. Mm-hmm. But if it's 0 cards and the whole thing on the ban list, like what it says is just, hey, you should use Rule 0, talk about it, and ban cards yourself within your playgroup. I think people will then make better decisions and make more fun decks.
It's interesting too. I wonder if the CDH community could then come together and they would have to because they would have to, right? If every card is legal, we're talking about Moxon and all this stuff, they would come pretty quick with some sort of rudimentary ban list that kind of like would separate it a little, but not really change that much. I mean, you got your casuals, play whatever you want, and then it's like, hey, for this tournament, this is what we're using.
I think that Moxon, honestly, if it wasn't for the price of Moxon, they should just be legal in this format. If Soul Ring and Mana Crypt,
that's another take.
If Soul Ring and Mana Crypt are legal in this format, Moxon should be legal in this format. That's what I think.
That's random hot take at the end.
That is our video. Special shout outs to all of our patrons. Love you as much as you can without making you uncomfortable. Thank you all for the direct support via patreon.com. Seriously, appreciate you.
You guys are the best. And, we're still working towards a TCG player goal because it's only been about 30 minutes since the last time we told you. So if you want to support the channel, we super duper mega appreciate it. Go to the link.
This is the month.
Buy the card. This is the month. This is the big month. You don't got to buy anything next month. This month.
Seriously, but use our link in the description. Buy whatever Magic card you want. You literally spend no extra dollars. We get a bit of a kickback, and we just need to hit this goal. And if we hit it, we will go, hey, top 100 blue next month, baby.
Right, we'll go to the moon, baby. That's where the Nitpicking Nerds
are
going.
To the moon. DragonShield.com, BZ.
Best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good
EU,
sleeves.
US link.
What was that?
Good sleeves. Best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
EU, US link. Did a description for you. Go to the source, buy the sleeves and the playmats and the binders you need. They're also the sponsor of Shuffle Scuffle, and we love them.
We do, and
you should too.
Yeah, and we're talking about going to an event to.
It's in the works. We won't spoil anything.
We won't spoil anything. I'll let you guys know, but it's in Europe.
It's in the works.
And it's in the works, and it's in Europe. So for our European viewers, might be able to come see us.
Tidbit about our lives. Your turn.
Tidbit about our lives. It is my turn. I have a date on Saturday.
Ooh, with someone you like.
Yeah, Tinder match.
Wow, you really like them. That's the pinnacle of human connection.
The pinnacle of real human connection. Yes.
Segue into an actual opinion I have. People need to stop hating on dating apps. That's real stupid. The fact that a dating app is like, why don't you just go to a bar? It's like, oh wow, that's so much better.
But that's really simple. I mean, that's an old person thing.
It is, but it's just stupid. I don't like. Well, I've seen young people hate on it too, where it's like, why are you using a dating app? It's like, it's not desperate. It's efficient. Like, we're just trying to meet people. It's not like the people on dating apps are different than the people who go to bars and exist in real life. So weird.
No, they are. They're not the people who go to bars. Hopefully.
You could do both. Like, I don't know. It's so weird to just draw this weird line. It's new and I don't like it.
I mean, people do that all the time.
I wish people just said that so I could ignore them.
I did something about my date. I talked with him on the phone for like an hour and a half during lunch today. It was nice. It was nice.
Did you like have your feet up and you were doing the kick thing like in a sleepover?
No, I was laying in my bed.
That's on your stomach? With your feet kicking around?
No, my feet weren't. I was just laying in bed watching some stupid YouTube video and chatting.
Cute. That's all we have for you.
That is all we have for you. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.